Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Loan Officer Wealth Podcast. So we are blessed today to be here with Janna Dawdy. Janna, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's very exciting.
Awesome. So you are running an incredible mortgage business, and I mean, you're driving the whole thing. So can you share with the audience, like, roughly where you're at as far as production and what your team looks like?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So basically, the team model that I have here is a little different than some that you'll see. Some folks will have like large teams of 10 agents producing. They may have an assistant or not. But what I've chosen to do over the past several years is run an independent type of brokerage where I'm still the sole broker and agent. I have a couple administration staff, so all of my ideas and things that I want to come to fruition can still happen without having to be at the mercy of other agents, bringing in the deals or business and that, up and down kind of volume. So I'm always in the driver's seat.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, what I do is I've worked my database. I've been in the industry a very long time.
Mhm.
We're approaching 20 years in brokering and banking and close to 30 years. But so when I started out back in the day with, a few realtors and then kept, working my business with my clients and my database. And the one key thing missing collectively, I think, in business and in life in general was customer service. So
Mhm.
that's kind of like the basis of my business. And I wanted to design and create something different that made sure that clients knew that I did have a vested interest in them, in their mortgage and their finances, not just today, but going forward.
That's so crucial. And I think especially in today's marketplace where, I mean, we've been somewhat commoditized over the last couple of years with the massive refinance boom and so many people just trying to get deals through the door, they lose sight of really that long-term career move, which is setting that up. So I would like to drill into that. But just for our listeners, I would like to state, like, in your current team structure, you're closing more than a deal a day right now,
Exactly. Yes, currently. Yep.
which is unbelievable. And you know your numbers really, really well. So would you mind sharing with our audience, like, where does the majority of your business come from?
So the majority of my business comes from past clients and repeat clients and clients referring clients into back to me and JC Mortgages because sorry, the numbers are about 78%. It was return business, repeat business, renewals, and clients referring business. So all within my business, and approximately like 12% was everything else. So real estate agents and give or take. So the majority of my business that I rely on is my current database and ensuring that those folks are taken care of. I think it's important for new agents to really focus on building their business with realtors or referral sources that they've started out in the industry and keeping focus on the ones that they've gained really good relationships with.
Yep.
And keeping those folks, because if you really look at my referral database or my database of past in financial advisors, they're the same people that have been with me for the most part throughout. I haven't looked outside to expanding massive amounts of referral people. I've built, even if they give you one deal a year or 2 to 3 deals a year or a few deals every other, they may have a good year this year, not. It's that relationship, but
Yeah.
they're bringing you quality clients. And if you treat those clients like quality, they will always refer you and come back.
I could not agree more. And that's the foundation to any solid business, but especially in the mortgage business. So I'm really interested in, I mean, 78% of your business is referrals, not from realtors, but like from the actual past customer and database itself. So there are so many people in the mortgage industry that just completely leave that opportunity untouched. It's just like they do a deal and they're on to the next, they're chasing the next one. So First off, how do you position your relationship with a brand new client when they meet you for the first time? What does that process look like for you? And then maybe we can dive into what you do to nurture that relationship over time.
Yeah, so I mean, things have obviously changed because of COVID. So it's a little bit different now. We've had to change our model and how, because that one-on-one, they come into the office and they had this warm, fuzzy feeling. And my office is set up like a home. So it was not only my experience and how I would go through it, but it was the whole package. And then that had to kind of shift because now we're doing phones and Zoom calls and that sort of thing. And it was like, okay, how are we going to make sure that these clients know that I am reputable, that I have their best? It's a different format. So, everybody is, and what I've learned is that everybody is now geared to these new ways. And what's helped me, what is definitely like media, and this is why we're talking today, all of our marketing and Google and all that stuff. So people like to do their research. So now when they're calling in or emailing, I have an initial conversation with them. So a lot of people, oh, can I come in? And it's like, well, no, first we have an initial conversation. I like to get to know them a little bit better and understand what they need, and have a full candid conversation. And then we move on to the next steps. We'll get the application going, the documents. Always ask for your documents up front. Know your client. I think that's the biggest
Mhm.
thing, is that, as I remember back in the day, it's like, oh, I can do it. Like, you're so excited and, you're getting a deal. But really asking for everything and being upfront and being direct right from the get-go is going to be, how you're going to start that trust of that relationship, because it sounds like you really know what you're doing and you're not going to play any games with them.
Yep.
So anyway, then we move on to the next steps, which are, the pre-approval process, or they've got an offer, it just depends. And then we move on from there. Some clients will then choose to do a Zoom call, just an email, or come into the office. And then we will start that process like anyone else.
Excellent. And do you have a system or a process once you have that client pre-approved, let's say? Are you keeping in touch with them regularly while they're shopping for their house? Or is it like, here's your pre-approval, call me back when you're ready? What does that process look like?
Yeah, so sometimes yes, and then sometimes no. It just depends. Like, I do keep a system, and then I'll do a quick touch-up follow-up. In this market, it's been a little bit tricky because the pre-approval numbers, with the given the high benchmark, it's like people need some time, and you don't want to be hounding them, but definitely getting them secured into a rate, checking in on how they're doing a follow-up. I give it about 6 to 9 months. I'll do a follow-up within the 90 days, and then 6 months, and then I will then kind of file them away and wait for them to reach out. I don't like to be overly bearing and on top of them, when we're doing our initial pre-approval, because there's only so much we can do.
Yeah,
But definitely follow-ups, when you do have that good connection and you know that there is opportunity that's coming ahead.
absolutely. Okay. So we move them into the deal. They go through, they process, they have a great transaction with you. What does like closing and post-close follow-up look like?
Oh, that's a big process. That's where we seal the deal on the client and we keep them, and we try to keep them for life. Because I made that motto many years ago, my mortgage agent, mortgage agent for life. And so at some point I wrote that, and that was the basis of what I really wanted to have. And so then I was like, okay, how can we build and make sure that this slogan stays?
Yep.
So a deal closes. We do a few things. There's always a follow up. If you follow my media or my Instagram and Facebook and all that, our socials, we do the door drops, the gifts. So I've always done a gift. I used to do gift cards for clients. And then I realized, like, some clients would be like, oh, I never got a gift card. And it was like, well, no, you did. Like, I document everything, and they forget. Like, they got an LCBO card, they don't remember. So then I was like, I got to think of something else that when they see it, they're like, oh, Janna gave me that. So then I started the welcome signs and door drops and all kinds of different things over the years. So next steps is, once they close and we deliver the sign, we always send out a how'd we do. which helps to know how we did, helps us to get Google reviews, Facebook reviews, like your socials, the things that are important in 2022.
Yes.
You want constructive criticism back if there was an issue. If they had a circumstance that happened at the office with maybe an administration or something I didn't know about, or they felt frustrated, I need to know about that. And so after how'd we do, that's when we go on to all of our different other marketing stuff. So I touch my clients 3 to 6 times a month. Um,
Wow.
it sounds excessive, but it's fun stuff. So we do constant charitable things every month. We do different door drops. So we would have pie pickup days. We'd have different sort of things where the clients can come in and donate to charity, but then pick up a tangible good, and they feel like they're giving back to the community and we're giving them something. Coloring contests and we do birthday cards every single month and they get a little gift in the mail for their birthday. We do anniversary, and there's all kinds of different things that we do every single month that we touch our clients. And it's, once again, like, it sounds like it's a lot, but it's stuff that they're actually engaging in. And if something's not working, I quickly say, okay, this isn't working. People are annoyed with this. Let's take it down a notch and change it. So
That's amazing. Okay, so many questions there because there's so much opportunities. And to all of our listeners, I think so many people will hear this stuff and they'll be like, okay, yeah, I'll get around to that. But it really is the implementation of these strategies that drive. And so I had another fantastic podcast guest on, and he was talking about making the referral process something that's worthy of talking about. And I have so many people where we'll ask them on an initial consult and just be like, okay, do you keep up with your database? And they're like, oh yeah, corporate sends them an email. I got that handled. And it's like, nobody's going to talk about like, hey, did you know I had a corporation send me an email this month about cleaning out my gutters? It's like,
yeah, we handwrite all of our stuff here. So every single card is handwritten. We just did 1,000 Christmas cards.
wow.
So everything is done by hand, by ink. It's very, very old school. The other thing I should mention is that I have a referral program. So if you refer me a client, you both get a referral thank you. So if you referred me somebody, that person who closes the transaction gets a gift. They get a porch drop, and then so does the referral source. And clients love it. Like, but you have to be consistent, Chris. This is the one thing. So
Yeah.
many people are like, Janna, I love your model. I love watching your page, and I will spend time and sit with clients, not clients, but other brokers, or have a one-on-one with them and tell them, and I'm going to share openly what we do, because you have to do the work. I mean,
Yep.
I can tell you what I do, but you still have to organize it, spend time, and spend the money to do it. But you're right, the consistency. Well, we decided to go to the trailer for the weekend, for the summer, so I didn't get around to my birthday cards. Well, people in July and August also had birthdays, so you have to make sure that you're consistent with everything that you're doing. And you've got to spend money to make money. And that's always been my very first thing in the industry. You have to make sure that you know that you're not going to make any money in the first 12 months.
Yep.
And if you do, you really need to put that money back into your platforms, into giving back to your clients and so on, to start building, those sort of referrals and deals. And eventually you'll make money.
Oh, 100%. And a year sounds like a long time, but if you're truly doing the right things and doing the Dream 100 and doing those sorts, it can ramp up pretty quick. And the thing about it is, in the mortgage industry, like, you spend a year getting your feet underneath you, you're building yourself a career that can make you in a phenomenal lifestyle for the rest. I mean, our podcast is called Loan Officer Wealth because I have seen at this point countless mortgage professionals who are really, truly independently wealthy as a result of the income that they get from running a good mortgage business. So I'm a systems and process guy. So I'm looking at your process and I'm like, that is absolutely incredible. But I know that I wouldn't have the self-discipline to do it. I'm just like entrepreneur squirrel guy.
Yep.
So do you have an assistant in your office that makes sure that it gets done, or is it you that really makes that happen?
So it's an assistant, like it's me constantly, who's ever been in that role or helping, saying, okay, this is what our processes look like. Like our renewal process, for example, I'm I'm always 6 months in advance. So I've got my renewals coming up for 6 months. We've already got the first letter out from my office. I've already sent them an email. I touch base. So everything is basically we've done everything on Excel. So I have everything that I need to know through Excel spreadsheets. It sounds very simple and daunting. There hasn't been a CRM out there, in my opinion, for all of the things that we do that I can customize on Excel sheets.
Yep.
So yes, the processes trial and error for the last 15 plus years. So
Mhm.
this was working, this wasn't. Oh, this got sloppy. So constantly cleaning it up. And we've actually are in the middle right now of I have a custom tech person company that we are currently creating our very own customized portal. So
Nice.
we're going to have everything from our Excels now into 2020 style, but it's designed exactly like you said, you're a systems guy and that sort of thing. It's going to be exactly what I need it to function so that I can continue to work my business, my database, more efficiently than Excel,
That is
but
amazing.
take out all the extras.
Yep.
So we've been in, doing this back and forth for about 4 months because it's like, no, I need it to do this. I need it like it's so important, even with the new prime rate increases. So most folks are like, oh, I just have them call the 1-800 number. Well, you're not going to obtain their business down the road if you're saying, well, prime's going up, there's nothing I can do, call the 1-800 number. Like that's been another trial and error this past year. Like we've had to make sure that our MailChimps are going out to that specific audience. I don't want to freak out the fixed rate clients thinking, oh my gosh, am I on I thought I was on fixed. So we've had to make a MailChimp designated for just variable rate clients and letting them know right before prime announcement, letting them know the morning of prime announcement, everything they need to know. So we're just always ahead of the game when it comes to what needs to happen. And it's just because of my years of knowledge and experience. So I don't think anybody could ever come in here and be the manager of that.
Yeah. Yep. No, that makes total sense. And in your follow-up process, are you calling your clients in addition to the porch drops and the mailers and everything?
Not really, no. We just do phone calls and emails. So as far as a phone call goes, not unless they've called and followed up. The other process that we do have actually is that once a deal closes, we contact customer service on every single deal to make sure that the payments were set up the way we wanted, that the weeks fell on the weeks that they wanted. And once that's confirmed, then we send them an email within 5 business days once we receive the response and say that we've triple checked everything and everything's exactly the way we did. Congratulations. If you have any questions, let us know. We also teamed up with a couple law firms. So I have my own law clerks as well that I work with directly. So we have I know exactly what's going on from start to finish. So everything is just basically flawless for the clients and they feel like, because there's been years and years of dealing with clerks and stuff. And as you know, it's like, oh, they didn't get instructions. This didn't happen. I thought I already gave you my void check. I thought I already gave you this stuff. And Janna should have it all. And then they're getting upset with us, but
Yep.
really they don't understand the process. It's just two different entities. So I wanted to clean all that up several years ago and I was able to do that.
That's excellent. Now, I noticed on your social media that you just ran a promotion with one of the law offices where you guys had come together and put together some boxes. Um, so I know, again, a lot of people in the mortgage industry struggle with setting up relationships with financial planners, investment advisors, lawyers, like that person that you've got to get through a gatekeeper to get to.
Yeah.
Calling realtors and setting up realtors is one thing, but those professional relationships. So how do you approach that and how have you really kind of brought that into growing the business?
Yeah, so it's taken me a few years to really like I'm very mindful of if I'm doing business with them or not, then I will ask. If I'm not, then it's not fair. So I do a very large movie event twice a year, and I will ask just those partners that I really do business with if they can sponsor. So it's only really a couple of sponsors to help with door prizes and stuff, because you do want to build that relationship that they're referring to you and you're referring to them, if you're going to use not necessarily a lender, but like you said, a financial advisor or a realtor or something like that. Because you don't want them to think that you're abusing them, or you're like, oh, I haven't given them any deals and they're giving me money. And so with the gingerbread houses, for example, it was just something that was on the fly. So I've got the new Jeep truck doing our deliveries now, and it's part of our whole 2023 campaign. And we do these door drops where we bring you pies at like Thanksgiving, and we've got stuff for Family Day and Mother's Day. And so we do all of these door drops or pickups at the office. So I had this idea because our movie event, we've got like over 200 and some people coming, but some people were like, oh, Janna, like, are you going to be doing something for charity for December? And I'm like, well, I am at the movie event, but I'm not extra. So I was like, okay, I got to come up with something real quick, gingerbread houses. But I'm like, okay, but we've spent so much money already this year in marketing, whatever. Maybe I'll lean on one of my referral sources that I know I've given business to. They appreciate me. I appreciate them. It's not a very big thing. How about I give the time, the delivery, will advertise you, you donate the gingerbread houses. So that morning I had an idea. I was on the horn. We got gingerbread houses for a good deal. They were picked up the next day at 8 a.m. And now we're getting those delivered for the Ray of Hope here in Kitchener. So so I asked, like you saw, the law firm for donation, and they were like, absolutely. So build those relationships. I tend not to co-sponsor or co-do things with realtors, really, to be honest, like, because I don't ever want anybody to think that I have a favoritism
Right.
going on. If you do a lot with one realtor and that's going to be the basis of your business, then sure. However, I don't rely heavily on realtors for my business. So I don't want to cut any ties with a group of them, because I do really respect them. And I don't think realtors sometimes realize that we don't have a whole lot of referrals to give all the
Yep.
time, because most of the business is already coming to us from other venues and they may already have realtors. So when we have the opportunity to refer, we really try to match up who would be a good fit. So definitely, though, financial advisors are really good because they're seeking different types of clientele or whatever. So just depends on where your business is coming from. But personally, I look at industry professionals to help here and there than I do real estate agents.
Yeah. And in that, it's such a beautiful platform that you've created, in the fact that not only do they get to give to charity, so they're giving back to a worthy cause, but that's the best type of advertising that you can put into a local marketplace. It gets them connected with your community that you've built. And it's just a phenomenal way for you to start that relationship. Like, here's what I stand for. Here's what my core beliefs are. Do you align with this? Great. Well, we're probably going to do great business together, but let's go help out this worthy cause first.
Absolutely. Like, it's really, we set up a JCM Makes a Difference, and that's really my charitable arm, so to speak. So we collect for charity 10 months out of 12. So we're aligned with a few charities, and that's kind of what we work towards, trying to facilitate donations in lieu of, a pie. So we deliver you this amazing local made pie in lieu of some toothbrushes. And my husband did the last delivery for the first time with the Jeep and he's never really experienced it firsthand, because people usually come into the office and bring all this stuff and we haven't asked her. And even though you see it, it's one thing, but he was collecting this, and I mean, he was in tears because he's like, I can't believe, like, you should see the donations you're getting. This is like incredible. And I just love that people were feeling it, like, and that he was feeling how I feel and we feel when we see, just, it has nothing to do with mortgages.
Yeah.
Like, it's awesome. So
That is really cool. Well, congratulations on building a passion filled business, because I think a lot of people miss that on the way to money. So it's phenomenal to see both. Now, and again, thank you for being so generous with your time. I've got one little topic that I do want to touch on, because you do a fantastic job on your social media. Your
Thank
reels are great. Your content is fantastic. So I'm just wondering, how did you get over the hump of I'm not going to do video marketing to I'm going to do video marketing? What was your process to getting through that? And then maybe a little bit more about how you come up with your ideas and process.
Yeah, so that's a funny story because Marielle was my new marketing person. So I started off a long time ago with like a younger person as Facebook just started. And so the roles always grow every time you hire somebody who's got more and more experience. So she's like, we have to do these things, these reels or whatever, right? And I was like, okay, so the very first reel, I have no idea what I was doing. She just said, okay, now you have to get off the chair. And I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. So she's like, just get off it. So we were like laughing last week about it. Like we should actually post it again. Cause I'm like, okay, so I get on this, I get at my desk and then I get off this and I don't even know what it means at this point. But anyway, I'm going with it. And so a little thing about me is that I used to love to enter every lip syncing competition when I was a teenager, all through elementary school. I loved lip syncing.
No way.
Yeah. So the biggest thing I had to get over was not feeling narcissistic.
Yeah, yeah.
Doing it. Because I come from a generation, I think, where it's basically selfies are all about, you just love yourself. It's self-loathing. Like it's a different time, right? And now it's like, no, people love that. And I was like, okay, so I had to get over the whole narcissistic part of it, that I'm doing this for fun. And then I started to understand what Marielle was doing, because at first we were doing like content, like she was making me film it, do it. And I'm quick at learning all the words and acting, because I wanted to be a lip syncing superstar at one point. So that part of it was easy. But once I understood the whole type of advertising content that it actually meant that we're playing on it, I was like, oh, I get this now. So then I just started filming 5, 10 at a time at home or whatever on my own. And then I give it to Marielle. So I think it's important. And then I'm seeing like how people are really loving the content of it and coming up with ideas. So I'm always trying to think of, if I see something funny, how can I relate this to mortgages, or, there's a rate increase. And I think it's important too, to say that you have to invest in somebody to help you with this stuff if you're not good at it and you don't
Yeah.
have time. It is key. I think just like an assistant, like I see on some of our, brokering feeds and stuff where, oh, you don't need an assistant, you don't need that. And I really think you really, really do for a lot of different things. And I think in the marketing thing, if it's not your thing, get somebody whose thing it is. Even get a student from a college to get you started. Everybody's got to start somewhere.
Yep.
So she's the one that brought me into the whole, okay, now here's where it's at. Media is where it's at. Let's start doing it. And once I started catching on to how this is all working and how 2022, and I got out of that narcissistic feeling of, okay, I'm just going to do this and have fun and, whatever. That's, I think, where the turning point was for me. And so now it's like, okay, I'm in the middle of a move right now, but I filmed 2 quick reels today before I came to work. So I'm like, okay, I need to find 2 quick ones, get them done. And then she's got a little content to keep, like, once again, because like the summer, you're at the trailer. Well, I don't have time. Well, you have to, it's part of your day-to-day process to keep up on all your marketing and all your business.
Yeah, that is so true. And I think certainly a shift for me has been in the mindset of what you do throughout the day changes when you realize that you are a content creator. You come across something every single day in the mortgage business that you can use as an education moment with your clients and with your customers. And it's so important to lean into that, because when you're not thinking about it, those moments just go by. And you might have like one really good conversation with one really good client. But for you to take that and be like, oh, hey, I just taught them something about first-time home buying. You turn on your camera, find a nice backdrop, and give that to 3,000 people in your local marketplace. Like it expands, but it also changes the way that you look at your day-to-day, because you'll be in a situation and be like, oh, this is content. Hold on, I can take a second.
Yeah. And sometimes I've got to get better at doing some more quick chats here and there. So I do lack where that's concerned. And I always say I'm going to do better, and I don't. So that is a work in progress that I'm personally got to work on in 2023, where I just hop on for 2 minutes because I was like, I've got to share this moment for a second
Yeah.
and tell people. And then I don't. So I do fall short where that part of it's coming from, but we're getting there. Like it's not going to all be perfect. And some people are fantastic at that. And I see it and I'm like, oh, they're really inspiring because they're on there and I'm watching them and I'm watching them talk in their stories. And even though they may have not a great page itself, I'm inspired by just their gift of gab just on socials quickly. And so I think there's a lot of learning that I also can take away from the newer agents that are more young and fresh, doing the newer stuff. So
Absolutely. And I think you touched on one incredible point there. And I learned this from Carl White, and all the credit due. Carl learned it from Dean Jackson. And I believe Dean Jackson learned it from the gentleman who owns Strategic Coach, Dan Sullivan. So it's an exercise of how. So if you look at social media, it's like, okay, I have to shoot the videos, right? And that's on you. You've got to come up with the ideas, you got to have the concept, you got to have everything. But as soon as that video is shot, well, then there's a how. There's how do I get it off my phone? How do I get it clipped? How do I get the subtitles on it? How do I know what hashtags to post it on? How do I write the description? Then you got to take it, you got to put it on Facebook, you got to put it on Instagram, you got to put it on Twitter, you got to put it on Facebook, you got to put it on TikTok.
yep.
Right? You've got all this list of all of this stuff. You could spend half to a good portion of your day just doing that content. So you got all this how. What you need to ask is who.
Exactly. It is so important. I have no idea on any of that stuff. And I'll be honest, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
It's not going to be my thing. I'm not going to be knowing everything. I have an idea. I love marketing. I love marketing this business. I love that I built it from the ground up. Like if I could teach brokers for a living to do exactly what we do here step by step, I would do it. I love it. That is my passion. But the marketing side of hashtags and put in spending, I don't like tech stuff, techie.
Yeah.
I'm not a techie person. So that's exactly that, is that you've got to have the right people doing that stuff, because you can film all the videos you want. And if you're not implementing them correctly on your page, then they're useless. So
Yeah. That is so true. Well, Janna, thank you so much for being so generous with your time here today. How can people find out more about you? To our listeners, you got to go check out Janna's social media. So how do they find you? How do they follow you? How do they get in touch with you?
yeah, so just JCMortgages.ca. It's pretty simple. That is the name of my company. And it's right there, .ca, JCMortgages.ca, pretty simple. So we're on TikTok and Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook and all of that stuff. So yeah.
That is amazing. Well, again, thank you for being just so generous with your time today. It was lovely to have you on.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
And to all of our listeners, the greatest compliment for the knowledge that you gained from today is a 5-star review on iTunes. It helps move us in the algorithm and gets us more incredible guests like Janna on the show today. So make sure you head on over to iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating and review. If you're seeing this on social media, make sure you hit us with a like and a comment with what you took away from the episode. And make sure you share this with everybody in the mortgage industry, because rising tides rise all boats, and we're all in this together. So again, thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.